What's up, everyone? And this is Next Level Thinking. What's up, everyone? It's another great episode of Next Level Thinking, where we try to help you influence and get to the next level of positivity. And that's what we're all about. And of course, it's your host, Chris Holmes, as always. But I have a special guest by the name of.
Marcus Davis.
Yes, we have the pleasure of having a good guest on the show. And I'm going to allow you to do a quick little intro of yourself, and then we're going to really dive into some fun stuff and educate and also get some positive influence to the people.
Absolutely. My name is Marcus Davis. I'm a native of South Carolina originally, but I live in Atlanta, Georgia. I've been here since 2003. Um, I have a prior law enforcement background, but now I'm the head trainer for my company in logistics. And I do training as far as then like guys that are coming into the commercial field. I'm also a musician and a producer that works with a lot of people. So I wear a lot of different hats, man. And just my life in itself has been an exciting journey. And God has blessed me to where um, by that journey, I'm able to kind of impartate some things into some people that can kind of maybe give you a different perspective on some stuff, being that I have my hands dabble in a little bit of everything, if that makes sense.
Oh, most definitely, and I'm glad you dove into that too, because you'd be surprised of like how the pathway that you take, and then with all your background and so many different things, can influence
Yeah,
so many people in so many different ways, and you carry those learning experiences as a way to be like a messenger to others, from being a producer to being law enforcement, and so much more. That can all be as good, great jewels to help people overcome their own adversities and much more. Don't you agree?
absolutely. Absolutely.
Yes. So let's go ahead and start hitting some of these bullet points one by one. And then if you have a comment, go ahead and dive in the comment. We try to invite more people on Facebook as well to keep this thing going live and all that. So make sure you comment and share. So let's get things really going. I want to hit the head on this: the importance of your environment. Now, we know how impacting that can be from even in households, even in your sports teams, work environment, or just anything in general. Like a lot of people say, like, oh, I can control and be my own little thing. I'm not going to allow outside elements affect me. But you'd be surprised, and I can even put myself out there personally myself, that your environment makes so much of an impact to you, and you don't really notice how much of an impact it is because you're in it, but it really does change your mindset and your perspective and trajectory of everything a lot of times when you don't even know it. Don't you agree?
Absolutely. I do feel like that you have many that maybe wasn't as fortunate enough to come up in good environments, whether it was poverty or drug related areas. But I also know that you have to want to surround yourself with with positive people. I do feel like that we all know a spot in our life where we have to make certain decisions um, to just want better. When you want better, you'll do better. So you're more cognizant of the type of friends that you have. You will find different programs, different outlets, and different things, even in education, that can actually help better your life. And I had to even learn that um, you don't have to be or even feel like what you've been through or where you came from. I've seen some of the worst people who have overcame so much, and what was told to me was that some things are also not just by chance, but they're also by choice. So
Watch it
it's
now.
a
Watch it now.
it's an inner thing. And I was able to really reach a lot of people in my area, and I was in one of the roughest areas, in Georgia. And by me being there, working and doing what I did, I was able to go in with the mentality of no matter how I'm treated, I'm going to give respect first, and then hopefully and prayerfully everything else will follow. So I think sometimes when you even speak on on the topics like these, I have to understand certain things that we are allowed to have our feelings and different things of that nature, but you cannot lead with them. because those do lead down to a road of destruction between feelings and emotions.
And
Yeah,
I definitely will agree to that because we're all human beings at the same time, and it takes a lot of discipline to actually take yourself out and look at it and not allow your emotions to lead you because emotions going to lead you into a lot of different misleading directions because you're not thinking and you don't want to lead yourself into an action that make yourself regret what's going on. And that's what happens. And I feel like society is pushing that when we have to really get back to our fundamentals and do some soul searching and actually think what's going on because words do definitely slice. And then once
absolutely.
it's an impacting, and you don't know how long a person may carry that for maybe a few weeks, months, or years. And just joking about it, we have grandparents that be holding on, be like, "Well, you did this to me about 40 years ago," and we're like, "Grandma, what are you talking about?" But it actually happens like that. So you got to be very careful with your choice of words. Marcus, you there? So as we continue the show, I'm trying to wait and see if Marcus gets back. I see you buffering. Are you there, Marcus?
Yeah.
Did you get my response? Just I'm double checking. Hold on, let's see.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. I'm just trying to make sure
Okay.
you're good.
Yep. Yep. I'm good on my end. I didn't know what happened, so I apologize. I don't know if that was me or what.
It's all good. Did you all right? Did you hear what I say so you can respond?
No. Go ahead and just repeat that last question for me.
Okay, so like I was saying, like a lot of times we allow our emotions to lead us into a lot of direction, or we may say something that's slice, and we really have to really think of what we say because like you'd be surprised like even adults hold on to what has been said for years. I mean 30, 40, what how many years and maybe in the future and they be like, "You did this to me 60 years ago," and I'm like, "You still tripping over that?" He probably
Right.
forgot about that. Just
Right.
joking about it. But we're all human, and like I always keep saying this to keep myself humble. Like I have to learn and continue to grow and not lead on my emotions. But I want us to dive more into this because these are the kind of discussions that people try to throw under the sheet and things like that, but it needs to be discussed.
Absolutely. Well, and I'm gonna really say something, and I'm more of one of those ones. Also, I'm also a man of faith, but I had to come to the realization, and I even had to talk with my father a little while ago, and I told him, I said, I'm so blessed and so thankful for how I was raised, but even some things that were taught, we were even taught wrong. And I think that, from back, ever since like we were kids, they taught what they knew. I said, but one thing I had to learn, there's ignorance in every category. That's why certain things I will never follow suit with based off of only what I was taught or what I heard. Certain things, it was life lessons that I learned, that like everyone can do better, no matter what your background is, what your profession is. We all are human beings, and we have to live on this earth together. And I had to learn that, if I cut you or you cut me, we all still gonna bleed red, no matter what ethnicity you are, where you come from or how bad your life has been. Like, I learned, even when I serve, that's just how I've always been as a person, just simply to serve. So I guess I had the heart of compassion that it no matter, like, it didn't matter what you look like or whatever. You never know what it's like to see a person almost take their last breath, or you're watching a person take their last breath, and the only thing that goes through your mind is their loved ones. What's going to happen when you have to report to this family. you know um so it's just one of those things that I'm very, very mindful of. And I just make it a point to just tell most people that I come in contact with, always find a way to beam bright and just be a light. We have enough negativity going on in the world today. you
And
know
I can definitely completely agree with that because there's so much negativity in the world. Is you have to get out of it. It's so easy to get drained into this whole whirlpool of just constant negativity and you lose track of like what you're actually aiming for in life. And you have to
right.
continue to push and have yourself in an environment where you can to continue to move forward and all that and much more. Of course, we hear the bells and all that. Yes, I'm at a school. This is, I mean,
It's
completely
all good, brother.
but this is very important where we have to actually protect our inner peace and continue to move forward. And also, like you were saying, be a service. And I continue to because you never know how many people or who you may need in the future by planting those good seeds.
Absolutely, absolutely, brother.
Yes, yes, I completely agree. So I want to dive also into this. Now I know with things going on in the world, but I want you to kind of share a more of experience to our audience of like what you see from the law enforcement side and like how we can learn from this because not all officers are bad. There's some good people like yourself that's in the community that actually reach out. But I want you to use your experiences of like what you've seen and how we can control our emotions and be in a better position to avoid that whole stereotypical things you see on TV to put ourselves in a more peaceful mindset because just like you, I'm pretty sure we don't like seeing the stereotypical thing always seen out there, and we can make better decisions and actions that actually help us move forward, even if it is through adversity.
Absolutely. Well, one of the things I think is even from the officer standpoint, I did what I call more of community policing, which means I would before my shift I would go get coffee and I would just stop by different places where I knew I was going to be within the area working. And one of the things that I think I did, and certain things I didn't have to, I wasn't taught to actually do this, but I did it in the form of, okay, I like coffee. So I would go and they would see me and they would first, they would say, "Oh, how you doing, sir?" And when they would see my face, it would actually, um, it would make them feel more comfortable. So they was like, "Wow, wait a minute, you came in the other night. Are you new?" And I'm like, "Well, I'm new. Well, like, I'm new in the area, but I wanted to make myself visible." That alone just set a standard, I believe, and they just got so comfortable with me on my shift, and it was like, wow. And so what I decided to do was, let me do something different. And I know people hear this, the same, but certain things really do apply even non-merit. Like if you want something different, you have to move differently. So what I would do is outside of briefing would let me know how my night was going to go by the people that I interact with before I went on patrol. So when I would get my coffee, they went from hi to now it's like, "Hey, Davis." Then I knew everybody's name. They would come all give me hugs, and I'm like, has been busy tonight. What's going on? That let me kind of know how to prepare my mind mentally for probably what's going to happen within the area. Um, and most of the time, and I just be very honest, I'm never like I don't like when officers don't take accountability. But more so than none, if I really had to be honest, a lot of times it's really not the infraction, it's verbal disrespect. Because I mean because I've been through it and
Yeah,
you can't even.
the disrespect part. Keep going.
Absolutely. And it's just more one of the things of a lot of times, more so than none in almost 7.5 years, literally, I've really never really been written up for anything. And I'm not saying it to make myself, quote unquote sound perfect or anything. What I am saying is that I always took the low road that was less traveled to gain a different kind of result. So what I would do is when people say, "Oh, I'm recording," I'm like, "Good, I am too." And I make people think, um, more so because when they realize like, wow, like this guy really was cool. And I always had what I call a script line. "How you doing, man? I'm Officer Davis, Fulton County PD, do you know why I stopped you?" And you would like not believe at the disrespect that I would get just off of introducing who I was. And what I would do is I would a lot of times teach some more lessons verbally, even then I did lock people up. And so more so than none, I would say, after I would, come back and say, one time I think I had a young lady who actually just she cursed me out and it was bad. I could have locked her up for disorderly conduct. And a lot of us, and it's not a black white racial thing. It's just that a lot of our people, I think, because we have been through a lot, we're also not very educated. And so my philosophy has always been, in all that get understanding. So you can't talk out of emotions and feelings yet again when you're standing and sitting in front of a courtroom. And by me being in there over the years in other people's cases, I almost can tell you what the judge is going to tell you. So when I'm educating you in the streets, I'm basically stopping you before you even get here. Now it's totally up to you on what you decide what that fate is going to be. And I would proceed to say, I simply, ma'am, stopped to tell you simply that you didn't have any any headlights, and you went on for almost 2 minutes, and I allowed you to do so. I said, so,
And emotion
um,
man.
Right. And so what I did, and when she realized it, it was like this look on her face with a blank stare, like, wow, like I totally messed up. And I told her, I could have locked you up for this. I also could have locked you up for this. Such, such, such. I said, but I'm not going to do that. Let this be a lesson learned that the next time somebody stops you, at least give them the respect enough to get out of what the infraction is. Because you could have gotten locked up for your actions and they didn't even tell you what the infraction was. So just little things like that. And then I think they thought about it. It was like, wow, you know what? I didn't really realize that. And then it came out more like, no, like I'm going to do the right thing out here. And I'm not out here to lock everybody up. But you also have to learn how to be a people's person, just learn how to get along. Listen to what they have to say so that way you'll know how to move. If you don't understand something, ask questions, things of that nature. And I've even did even physical skits with other officers, and we would go talk to different churches, community people, and we show them how traffic stops are normally, normally are supposed to go. We show them from the side of the officer when it can go bad, then from the side of the civilian how it can also go bad. So it's more so just like I stated before, just get educated. If you don't know something, I mean, for those who are tuning in, please feel free and reach out. And if I don't have an answer, I'll find one.
Yes, all great points. And I really want to key on this one as well is, and I'm gonna wrap it up in this word: accountability. Accountability for your own actions and your and just your choices as well, because you if once and I'm learning this more and more, once you get to the point where you accept accountability for your actions, you actually regain a lot more control of your life. And a lot of times we don't want to accept accountability because it stings. You don't always want to be the bad person because let's be honest, we're human beings. We so used to like it. I call it like the childish, or like act as a child. Like when you get in trouble, you're like, oh, let me try to run. It was JoJo or you know Mike over there. It wasn't me. But
Right.
you lose control of your life doing that. And we have to continue to grow and get out of that and be like, okay, I messed up. I admit it. Let me see what I can do to grow from that. It was my fault, but I can become better. What my mistake is not who I am, but I can learn from it and progress from it. And then once we start doing that, you'd be surprised how much more you regain control of your life. And I think that affects in so many different ways and so many different things.
Absolutely. I also had to learn this in the profession, and this is more even just from a mental standpoint. And for anybody who's watching, but we have to also be careful. And again, I am a man. I am a Christian. I'm a man of faith. So one thing I did had to learn is a lot of times that put wear and tear on our own lives by trying to carry weight that God didn't grace us to carry. He did not grace us to carry. And the reason why I say this is because um and I share this, with wherever I go, and I always make the statements, and I say, have you ever seen a dead 7-year old? Have you ever seen a dead 10-year old?
Mate,
15, 17, 19, 21, and it's just over and over and over again. And what's going to happen is, because I believe that even those who are watching, obviously you have a good heart to even be here, or to just want to hopefully receive some helpful information. We take these fasts that we're grace, that we have in our heart to just, oh, I want to save this person, oh, I want to save this person, and it's just not possible. I will say help those that want to be helped, but those that don't, I had a lifeguard tell me one day. He said, Davis, can I tell you something? And it stuck with me for the rest of my life. I said, Chad, what is it? He said, you know how we save most people out here? Not in a swimming pool, but in an ocean. I said, no. He said, we do either two things. Either we have to either knock them out or let them go. Because he said, as strong as I am and as strong as you are, when people get scared and they don't want to listen, you will get killed trying to save someone who doesn't want to save themselves. So I say that to say, at the end of the day, you sow the seed for those that want it. For those that don't want it, you have to pray for them and love them from afar, and then allow God to be God, and then let Him deal in that area. Because at the end of the day, He's the only one that has the power to break records only like He can, not me or you.
and I definitely, and I'm learning from that as well. Is like not carrying the weight, and then learning that, I mean, you really can't save everyone. You're gonna put your own stuff in jeopardy, and this goes in
Correct.
so many different categories from your dreams, your friends, family, loved ones, close one, marriages, and much more. I mean,
Right.
I'm speaking,
Absolutely.
I'm speaking in from my own experiences. Like if you constantly see that a person doesn't want to be helped, and we just have that general type. We always want to look for the betterment of a person at a lot of times. And I will say to myself personally, I have drained myself doing that. You can't do that. You're not going to be as good as a value to walk into your purpose doing that. You got to save those who want to help themselves. And like you said, you just got to let it go. And that is very hard. And I'm saying that out loud because it's hard for a lot of us to let that go because you want to be that, that superhero, always helping someone. We want to be that person that's like, okay, I'm saving the day. But at times you got to learn, which is more of the mature thing, is take it out of your hands and let it go. Serve those who want to be served, but you got to protect your inner peace and keep moving forward. Because if you get yourself drained out and just a person that don't want your help, just imagine all the other people that needed your message or whatever you're doing, and now you can't serve them because you're drained out. And I think that is a hard reality, and I'm learning, and I'm speaking out there because I think it needs to be spoken out that we all have to learn and to grow into.
Make sure that too, just by that statement alone, it didn't just apply for me in the area of just law enforcement. It's just in all areas of our lives, whether you're dealing with family, a business partner, kids, relationships, parents, employees, co-workers. Um, and I think more sometime than none is I've learned that a lot of times people don't change; they just adjust, and it's it's just kind of one of those things, man. Where I finally caught it on quick, and I never forget my sergeant, my first actual homicide that I went in. It was brutal. It was three people. It was two kids and an uncle, a brother and a sister and an uncle, and the house got shot up. And I noticed when my sergeant walked out, she's one of the nicest people. And I promise you, and it didn't hit me till I rode off in the car later. And she said, "Come here, honey." And I'm just like, wait a minute, we just had a shootout that just happened here at the house. And what I fail to realize is that this is a person who's coming in with a good heart. But this is also, but I'm now connecting to a person who has years of experience over me and my feelings. And she came out and she put her arms around me, and it was almost like it was just another day in the park. Because I'm like, it was just like, first of all, look at the area, of where we are. And she said, she said, is this your first such such, 17? I was like, yeah. She said, I'm like, is it bad? She said, it's bad. And I'm just looking at her with a blank stare on my face, like she's just normalized, like no tears, nothing. And she said, I want you to, she said, I'm telling you this because I love you enough to tell you, you have to protect your mental. She said, I've been doing this for over 15 years. She said, I've seen so many dead bodies in my time. I'm just very desensitized to just either they die with their eyes wide open or they die with them closed. And she said, like you're gonna do well out here, and you got so much respect from all your brothers and sisters. She said, but they love you because you're a people's person. But look around at the environment where you are. Some of these people, they don't even want help. Watch what happens when you go to them to just talk to them in general. And so my stance will always be, and my prayers for the good officers who actually have the heart of people. I would tell those who are wearing a badge, if you don't like people, then this is not the job for you. Period, point blank, because you're making all of us look bad. And I know innocent officers who've gotten killed just for the sake of a patch. So every time that you walk out of the door, you don't like me that much because of my uniform, but I may just be the person who helped save your life. And where you taught that bad to like not speak to me when you see me. So what I would just go above and beyond. And um even just on a prime example, it was when I walked in, it was the little boy. He was playing video games, and it was a through and through, so he didn't suffer long. And he got popped right through his aorta. He bled out just with the controller on the floor. The uncle was right there in the chair. He took a whole massive shot. Then the little girl was in the kitchen with a bowl of cereal. And when I'm seeing this stuff, it's just like, wait a minute. So while I'm going on about my day, whoever the father is, the mother is of these kids, and whoever the brother and sister is of this uncle, and all these three people, regardless of whatever happened, my life now looks the same, and whoever their loved ones is, life now will forever be changed. And it's something until this day that I still have to live with. And this was just this years later, because the only thing you can vision is what you saw, and I made I I made it my business to where even when I worked my part-time and I would be up at a college, so I learned how to interact from the county to a school. They had a section for the kids, for all the little babies, and they said that's Officer Davies. So they would come in, hi Officer Davies, and they would allow me to read to the kids, and I would, you think I'm like, kids is 4 years old, and they would curse um at the teachers at 3 and 4. And I'm saying to myself, this, I'm not looking at what I'm seeing. This, like this is, and I'm talking about, this was in real time. So what I would do is I would take the initiative to almost be like, almost, I guess, like a father figure. And I would say, no, I said, from now on out, you guys will not say yeah, no, and huh. It's yes ma'am, it's no ma'am, it's yes sir, and it's no sir. So when they see me, and it was almost like, I guess God graced me with the gift to command the presence of the atmosphere to change. And I learned certain things even in life. Be a change agent. Even right now where you are, in Houston, Texas, be a change agent right where you are. But we're changing, and we're agents for the better. And it's not for the culture, it's for a culture of people who are like-minded, no matter what your background is, black, white, red, Asian, Indonesian, Indian, I don't care. We have to get past this, because what's going to happen if all we do is walk down the street? It's actually walk down the street. We don't speak to each other because you're scared, or you think that I'm going to rob you. Why? Because I'm black. You don't think that they like you because they're white. You think that they feel a certain type of way, to you, because he or she is Jewish or whatever. And I'm like, this is absurd. This is silly. At the end of the day, when I stand before God, he's not going to care what this is. He's going to say, either he knew me or depart from me, because I knew you not. So while I'm here, do the right thing by people. We all got to stay next door to each other. We all got to live together. So let's get along. And if I learn, and if I realize people don't like me, instead of me going to find problems, I just distance myself and remove myself from the situation, period, point blank. And that goes for whether it's youth, um, um old people, whatever. You even have some older people that I'm disappointed in. 50, 60 years old, and 70, you're still harboring stuff from when you was in your 20s and 30s. And this is crazy. And then you're brainwashing, your kids and grandkids. Oh, this is about these people, and it's so not true. So when they finally meet you and see exactly what it is, it's like, wait a minute, you're not what I thought. And so, that was what I allowed to be my light, man. Like I said, before I stepped down, I just got officer of the month, and it was in a really rough time, man. And the only thing that I really felt bad about is that toward the latter end, some things really could have went south, to where I ended in a higher division. I went to a tactical unit, and we were very, 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 very skillful and well trained doing what we did. And so I just, certain things I just stayed away from, and it was for the sake of my son. Where one, going toward the latter end, it could have possibly cost me and my son's life. And so I knew then, I needed to make some decisions, and they begged me not to leave, and I thought about it, prayed about it, and I slowly stepped down. It was something that I did not want to do, but
So now I definitely, people are loving everything that you're saying. And I
wow,
feel like we are really hitting some points that a lot of people are afraid to hit on. And I was like, when I met you from that conference, I was like, yeah, this is that's name. Look, here we are. And I want
that's
to
what's
add
up,
on to what
brother.
you're saying now is a lot of times you can, like you say, you put yourself in danger. But here's another thing that a lot of people don't talk about too is the people that you want to help at times can also flip it around and make you seem or look as the antagonist or the person that's really causing the issues. When you genuinely had a good heart or good intention, but they changed the whole perspective to the point where now you're looking like the person that's at fault. And now you have to do what you need to do to remove yourself so you can still impact and be of a positive influence to the people that need and deserve your message. But it's really hard when you, let's say, you're really strongly connected to a person, or it can be a lot of different things, relationships, work, and much more. But in that work environment, but I'm saying is sometimes you must detach because the things that you actually want to help change. And keep in mind, you can't make somebody change. I'm learning that more and more myself. A person has to want to change, but just at times you have to remove yourself from that environment and start walking your own pathway, and just let God work on them, and you pursue what you need to do. Because if you stay in that situation or connected to the person, you'll take yourself out, or you may get yourself killed when you need to remove yourself from that situation. And that's another hard choice that people, because we're so connected, we don't want to see that this person fails or goes into a route destination may lead to their own death. But you may put your own self in danger by doing this exact same thing, by staying connected.
Absolutely. It was one young man that he actually, I think he maybe was about 22 years old, and they were in a program, and they had so long to get their education before they would actually go back to jail. And he actually slapped a professor, and they wanted him removed. And I'm going to show you what I mean when I say, like, you get so desensitized and so almost detach from over a period of time, especially if it's like a person that you spoke to maybe like multiple times, or you know they're a problem person. They don't want to, try to do anything. And when we got the call to go there, mind you, this was at my part-time job. And when I went in, and they said we want him removed from the class. So he was like, okay, y'all gonna have to, like, you know, take me out the desk because I ain't going nowhere. Well, of course, that didn't go very well. And so we ended up removing him, of course. This was on a Thursday. By the time I came back that Tuesday, I took Monday off. And when I came back that Tuesday, I kind of noticed, it was kind of quiet and everybody was looking around. And I went in and peeked my head in on the lady that was over in the New Connections building. And she said, "Hi, Officer Davis, how are you?" I said, "Miss Childers, how are you?" And she said, "I'm not well." I said, "What's going on?" And she said, "You remember the young man that you escorted out, that you guys took out Thursday?" I said, "Yes." He was shot and killed Saturday. And he went in the wrong person's I guess area or their territory, and he decided to try that same thing. And unfortunate, he succumbed to gunfire. And it was a lot of it. And sometimes even outside of that, young men that I would talk to or try and mentor that was in a shootout or whatever, or if I went ran a call and went to a case, I would even go to the funeral home and view a body just to pay my respects. And they were just like, "Excuse me, do I know you?" I'm like, "No, I was one of the responding officers that night." And this is stuff that nobody in my department asked me to do or nothing. And they would just say, "Oh my God, sir, thank you for all." So I just, decided on my own, to just, allow my own personal light to just beam bright as much as I could. Um, And so when people ask me certain things, I'm never going to tell you something to pacify your feelings, because this is the things that I dealt with in real time. And every now and then I'll have a moment, man. And this is some years later, because I'm like, man, could I have said something different? What could I have done different? We even had a lady that had two kids, and they thought she stole, possibly was going to steal something at a Dollar General. When I got the call, and it was like, "Davis," I said, "Well, where is she?" "She's in the back with the manager." "Okay, cool." When I walked back, she saw me. She was gonna get afraid. I'm like, "Ma'am, no, 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 it's okay." And I could tell, like, obviously they may have not had anything to eat, and I'm only telling you that to show, at the end of the day, we're still human beings, and God is love. And then and also in that moment, I'm not coming here to lock you up. I just want to figure out, the basic of whatever happened. And I said, "How you doing, ma'am? I'm Officer Davis." And she shook my hand. And I could look at the little boy and girl, tell that they didn't probably hadn't eaten in days. So I said, "Come talk to me." She said, "Oh, you can take me to jail." I said, "No, ma'am. I just want to talk to you." I said, just look at me. I just want you to talk to me. I said, I got a call, yada, 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 yada. They were stating that they may have thought you took something. I said, did you take something? I said, you don't have to lie to me. If you took it, whatever. I said, we'll just talk about that. She said, no. I said, where are you going to? She said, I thought about it because me and my kids haven't eaten in days. And right in that moment, I had a moment like, wait a minute. This lady, I don't know her personal situation. She has two kids, cute as a button, but you could tell like they probably haven't had a decent bath or whatever. First of all, I ain't calling child protective services on you. So obviously you have enough strength to keep them with you. That's number one. I said, where do you live? And she said, I'll stay off Gobby Road. And I was like, oh God. So I'm like, I realized that, the area, of where she was. And I normally don't carry cash. So I said, well, you know what? Let me do something a little bit different. I think I might have had a 20 or $25 on me. I said, you know what? Here you go. And when I did, I said, this is not much. But I said, listen, you don't have to steal. Okay. She looked at me, she said, okay, sir. I said, I don't care if you got a bag. I just don't want you to steal. Okay. She said, oh my God, thank you. And in that moment, even when I gave her the $25, I was convicted because I felt like God was like, you put a band-aid on, but you're able to actually be a blessing. So go ahead and fix the problem, son. Like I know you can. I said, I tell you what, put that money, what I just gave you back in your pocket and just use it for petty cash. I went and got a buggy and said, here, go get what you need. And she just broke down. And Dollar General, you can do a lot with, I mean, if you know what you're doing.
You
So,
definitely can.
and they was just like, David, this is why we love you. So when I left, even by me stepping down, I went back to all the spots where I would hug them and they was crying. They was like, it's not gonna be the same. And I had like 3 or 4 bad incidences within that month. And the people will say, what's your name again? And I told them my name. So some kind of way they must have called in my badge number. And, we had a guy and he was just, a godsend. And the only thing that, God was just allowing me to do was just, he said, just meet people where they are. And so that's what I did. And even like another young man that they kicked out, um, they wanted him out of school. And I said, is everything okay? He said, no, he said, I'm just tired of life right now. I said, how long do you have? He said, I got 3 more months before I go back to the slam if I don't get my education. I said, what are you majoring in? I said, I tell you what, I'm here at least 4 days out of the week. When you see me, don't walk past me, don't speak to me. Come say what's up. I said, have you eaten? He said, no, not really. Here's a $10 bill. Matter of fact, I said, you know what? Nope, I'm gonna keep the money. I said, you wanna go grab lunch? He said, yes, sir. And what I did was even I said, wait. But before I do that, you don't have to. I said, I won't allow you to head down the road you know that you're headed. But before we leave, I said, I just want to do something. Mind if I pray with you right quick? He looked at me. He's like, so somebody must have saw me in uniform. I just put my hand on his head and we bowed our heads. Little did I not know somebody must have took a picture of it and it got all over, over the school or whatever. And so I just learned that, it's a statement where it says you just don't know who's watching you. So at the end of the day, in spite of all the negativity, I'm going to find a way. I'm going to push through and push past my feelings and other people's feelings and then just continue, to just be a light. And that's what I did. And it hit the paper at the school and just other areas. And it was like, wow, man, you always find a way, even when things look bad, you're going to find a way. And so that's, I think, probably more so than anything, that's probably what I missed the most about the job is just the part of serving people. That's what life is about. I don't care where you are or what you're doing. Get past your feelings and just learn to simply serve.
The measure of life is a service, and you can do so much from that by itself. And
Yes,
you added a tremendous amount of value with everything that you said, and a prime example of like the impact of the serving and going the extra mile and just caring about a person and just being a human being and saying
right.
you're better than what's going on. I see something within you, despite the circumstance of the environment. I'm going to show you how a human should be treated with love and kindness, and prayer, and that's the icing on top. Um,
Absolutely, man.
you don't really see that too often, especially when someone's in a bind. But and then on to add on that, you have to get past what's being pushed and get past the feelings at times and start caring for each other. And I want to add on to that and dive into all of them. even more value to this conversation is the importance of loving yourself. Now, I can hear by someone in the back being like, "What you mean? It's time for you to love yourself." So we have been going through this life, and I feel like honestly, it happens as soon. Matter of fact, I'm just going back to the beginning. When you were a child, you had all the dreams, aspirations, and much more. You wanted to do anything. You believed that you were unstoppable. You can attain everything that you want. You had true love for yourself. But I really do believe, like along the way, we allow like different situations or people to try to make us not believe in ourselves, and we have to redirect that and give that positive love and energy into ourselves. Too many of us, uh, men and women, look at ourselves in the mirror and say the most negative stuff to ourselves. We become our own worst critic because we allow what other people or the world says or where we should be or where we at to influence our minds so much to the point that we stop loving ourselves. We hate looking at ourselves in the mirror. We need to change that mindset and start believing and loving ourselves. So we must start this transition to love ourselves despite our flaws and what has happened in our past and start moving forward. And I strongly believe that once we do this, we have a more caring world because we're not carrying the weight, and I know you mentioned that earlier, of so much put on us because now we love for ourselves. Because the biggest factor, I think the biggest impact we can do is by showing love. And you definitely demonstrated that with your kindness of looking out for this person.
Absolutely. Well, the thing I even think, well, to me, if we're gonna, I guess, define, self love, I look at it from a natural aspect as well. Even while being a police officer, some years ago, I also was a bodybuilder, and I stayed in shape, and even like now, I still physically work out. And one of the biggest things I think that people, if we're honest with ourselves, we know the things that we won't work on. And so what happens is we define ourselves by I feel like sometimes we actually define this self-love by the things that we know that we're not going to change. So we use the self-love verdict as a deflection on, well, I'm just good the way it is. But then in the same voice with the same mindset, you'll still question yourself later on when you just simply won't um work and keep the main thing. Let's start with our health. How am I physically? And then we have honest conversations. So what happens is we walk through life and we're depending and solely looking for validation in all the wrong places from people who really don't even care. Whereas in for yourself, this is what I have to do. So they were trying to figure out, okay, well, how does he stay in shape? And now because I would cook my meals and I actually pack my food and I take it with me. So, come on, like I'm a human being and I just like a good burger like you like it, but I know I can't eat this stuff every single day. So then what we'll do is we will also walk around and then we will get with other people. We will ask them, well, how do you think I look? Or what do you think about me? And social media has totally just clouded everybody's, psyche because they see these things, and they like, well, why can't I be like him or her? And I'm like, well, number one, you're not going to be like him or her.
Be
Okay,
yourself,
self.
man.
You need to be the best version of yourself. And if I had to be honest, most of us we just really like self-awareness. We totally like self-awareness. That's why you have to find people to validate and give you answers of technically what you already know the answers to. So it's kind of one of those things, and I'm not saying it in a disrespectful way, but we all were just stand raw and look in the mirror at ourselves with nothing on. We know what, okay, I need to work on this. Then guess what we got to do? We got to start fixing it because at the end of the day, nobody's not going to do the work for you. You have to do the work. Um, and if I had to be honest, I think our physical appearance more so than outside, more so than none, it actually makes us feel or be something that we're not because our inside is so messed up. So if we can change this, change your mind, and then your body will follow. You cannot out train a bad diet. You have to eat good. So it's just one of those things, man.
Man, so many people try to do that.
Yeah, man. And I mean, everything is cookie cutter. If you think about it, what were the key essentials even from back in the day? You remember Richard Simmons, even when he did his stuff. But what did he have right after the whole thing? Nutrition. After he came, then Billy Blanks came with Tybo. What did he have with that thing? Nutrition. Okay. So now after he came, it was Sean T came with the whole insanity. What did he have? Still with nutrition. After he came, Tony Horton came, P90X. What did he have? Still everything was bogged down with nutrition. And most of us, I mean, if we're honest, how many of us can say that that like we cook and prep our food? What are we putting into our bodies? Are we staying active? And I'm not saying that you don't look good for other people. You do it first of all for yourself, so you can feel good about yourself and live a long, prosperous life. You should not have nieces and nephews and grandkids, and you telling them to slow down because you can't keep up, only because you choose to say, well, I'm going to eat whatever I want to eat, and this is who I am. But then you want the validation with,
Don't hurt them.
so now it's like, okay, well, it's the self love for me. No, that's a deflection because you know that physically you're not going to do anything different. When people really want to change, you're not going to look for validation. You ain't going to post it. You ain't going to say it because number one, you got to understand the difference in between a hobby and a calling and a lifestyle. That's why they don't see their health as it being health and wellness. They see it as a hobby. By the time you go to the doctor and he's telling you, okay, no, you cannot have this again, or like if you keep eating this, whatever. And guess what? I'm human like everybody else. I have me some pizza, I have a good burger, and I have all that stuff. But here's the thing. Guess what? I cannot eat this stuff every day. I can't, man.
I
And I'm
definitely
like,
vouch for that too because, like, before I even lost the weight, I had to watch what you put in your temple. So I agree with everything you just said.
absolutely, absolutely, man. And I mean, and people need to start. Honestly, you'll feel better, with like you won't be like as tired. In my profession now, it's a little bit more harder. But guess what I do? I find a way. I find a way to to make things happen in the area because you know again you never want to get to where it's too late for you to now to make drastic changes because by then it's too late.
Man, we saying the whole mouthful. And I appreciate you right now. For I know we said 30 minutes, and we dropping so many bombs. And I know this the audience is like, nah, don't stop this. So I'll say this: we're gonna hit one more great point. I know I tell them like, you can bring it back. I'm like, okay, I'll bring it back.
Yeah, bro. Anytime, man.
But I think that this bullet point would be a nice little wrapping as we come to an end. Is the importance of not allowing people to disturb or redirect you away from your purpose. A lot of times when we know what we should be doing, we're walking in our destination, and we at times, and this is going to cut deep, we allow friends to redirect us in another direction because they don't understand or see what we're doing, or we allow family to redirect us and push another way because, oh, we know better for you, or you allow loved ones talking about the girlfriend, boyfriend, or maybe even I hate to say it, but it's the truth of the matter, your wife or husband, and that's hurts, and it's the conflicts that a lot of people don't want to discuss. But you need to remember what your true purpose is and stay in it, because ain't it funny how once you step away from your purpose, everything starts getting routed, but as soon as you realign, everything starts smooth sailing. So I'm gonna let you go ahead and kill this one.
Well, for me, I made a valuable decision when I finally got locked in understanding what my purpose is. Um, if anybody, even who's watching, if you've never been to a gun range, and I always use this analogy, they have what they call front sights. You have a front sight and then a rear sight. And for me, it's also about change your sight alignment as it pertains to how you look at your life, which means sometimes you need to just change your lenses. So that means I need to now focus in and redirect everything when I'm punching out to hit a target. Your target is not per se a target that's at a gun range. Your target can be a target of business, a target of something that you've always wanted to do, what you aspire to do. And one of the biggest things that I had to learn is that when purpose finally catches up to the destiny, you will never go back to the things that had you bound in the first place. Change your sight alignment and everything else you will punch out and then you will follow. And normally you will be so accurate. So anything that's outside of this, if I say keep your eyes here, anything outside of this has absolutely nothing to do with where you're going. The problem with it is that you have to stop living for people that either don't know you, have nothing else to do with your purpose, because guess what's going to happen? If you allow them to step in and knock you off purpose, then you was never focused in the first place. So now, whether it's family, whether it is friends, whether it is so-called friends, business partner, relationship, brothers, mom, dad, employees, it doesn't matter. If they're simply not going where you're going, they're simply dead weight. Remember, people don't change, they just adjust. You have to be either male or female, strong enough to understand, know when to hold them, know when to fold them, and also know when to walk away. There is no looking back, there is no connections. And one of the biggest things is this right here: stop leaving doors cracked to allow them to come back in. That is your final answer. Stop leaving doors cracked. A lot of us, really, it ain't that we're not lined up with purpose. It's just that the things that had you bound in the first place, it's almost like this right here. I'm gonna say this and then I'm done. There's a difference in between cover and concealment. Cover, I'm sorry, concealment only slows down. It only slows down what's trying to penetrate you. Cover, nothing can penetrate it. So a lot of us are even covering for people that don't mean us any good. I'm sorry, we're concealing people that you thought that you were supposed to cover. So now you're wondering, how is it that the fiery darts are still hitting you? How is it that business ideas are leaking out? And then another thing is, stop telling everything to everyone. Be careful who you share your dreams with, who you open your wounds to, because guess what's going to happen? By the time God allows that thing or that person to come in who's actually going to cover you, guess what's going to happen? Because you're not off target, you've just exposed them to the enemy. Now you would get your partner killed. The difference in between cover and concealment. You don't go back to things what kept you bound in the first place. Once your purpose locks into your destiny, and I see where I'm going, that's how I was able to actually shoot very well. They said, man, how is he shooting? Because guess what I'm realizing? He said, Davis, keep your eyes on the front sight. Boom. And I'm doing different analogies even in a video, because I know people won't do this. And I know we're over time, but I just want to, to actually help this, for this point, to help somebody. When you're doing it the right way, he said, keep your eyes on the target. He said, you see that? Look at him. He has your son. Don't you let him shoot your son. And when I would punch out, he said, only when you hit a threat. My eyes is locked in on, he said, keep your eyes on that front sight. It's the same thing. So what God allowed me to see is everything in the front sight. Guess what you do? Keep your business in the front sight. Keep your family in the front sight. Keep everything that I've locked you to, all of the right opportunities locked in on your front sight. Watch this. Naysayers, I don't even see them because I'm locked into my front sight. So I'm not looking over here or over there. I'm locked in here. Guess what? Such said they don't like you. I don't even care. Guess what? I'm locked into the front side. This person was gossiping about you. I don't even care, because guess what? I'm locked into the front side. This person said that your business would never grow. You're still 2 years in and you ain't with no, it don't even matter. I'm still locked in on the front side. After a while, bullseye, bullseye, bullseye. So nothing can get into the way. I'm done.
I may even have to put a closing quote. So, wrapping this up, it's your host, Chris Holmes, as always, dropping on have a special. Yeah, I'm over here like that. Shoot. I'm like that. You hitting even me? Let me wrap this up. All right. So it's your host, Chris, on as always. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure you share and keep the message going because it's all great inspiration to help you take it to your next level. And I have my special guest by the name of
Marcus Davis.
Peace Out and much love.
Peace.
What's up, everyone? And this is